So I decided I needed a cemetery sign. I'm not making a full cemetery, I'm just doing Hawkins Cemetery. And I thought, it'd be nice to add that sign. So that's what I'm gonna be doing today. I have this leftover piece of foam, and what I plan on doing is just etching out Hawkins Cemetery and then airbrushing and painting it with acrylic paints. So that way I can hang it up in the front yard with the tombstones I'm gonna put out there. Basic tombstones, not the scary RIP ones and stuff. I'm gonna do Bob, Barb, and Billy, the 3 Bs. They all died, kind of weird. BBB. Anyways, and then some just plain old tombstones out there. I'm gonna flip my tombstones that I already have around to the backside, and that's how I'm going to etch into the names into the tombstones to make it easy for myself. Plus, I'm on a budget. So this is the Hawkins sign, and I think it will be a good addition to the little tiny cemetery in my front yard. So the first thing I did was measure out my piece of board with an old ruler I had from the 80s. And after I did that, I kind of figured out where I wanted the placements of my Hawkins Cemetery sign. So I counted out the letters to see what was going to be in the middle and how big they should be. I went on my computer and I typed out each letter with the size so it'd spell out Hawkins Cemetery. And then after that, I printed them all out, and each individually one I cut. And after I cut, I made it a template, and then I would measure out again with that ruler where I wanted them, and I placed them one by one with some tacks and some pins into the foam. Then after that, I used a glue stick and glued each letter down. Why I glued it down was because when I used the spray paint, I didn't want it to be flying off because of the power of the spray paint. So once it was all glued down and ready, it was time to take it outside and start to paint. So I've never done this before, and my whole goal is that the spray paint will eat away at the foam and leave the lettering that I covered up regular. We'll see. You can see right there how it's eating away at the foam. So it's hard to paint spray paint down, so I'm going to put my sign up on its side and finish adding another layer and then let it dry. It's at this moment I realized I should have left the letters on so I could have airbrushed it and then took it off, but little hand painting and some bronzing, I think it'll be fine. So if you look closely, it's hard to tell. You can see that there's a little edge on it. I could have probably spray painted it one more time, but my letters were starting to get thin. Cardstock would have been better, but I'm just using what I have around the house. Now I need to cut the edges out and then paint. So I used my nifty little craft knife here, which is just a razor blade, and I cut the edges off, and then I added some details like wood grain into the side just to give it some details. And then once that was all done, I spray painted it again lightly, and then I got ready to paint it again, but just the letters this time. So I had some gold paint that I used to paint over all the letters. It took some time to do this. This is why I said it would have been better if I painted it first. Oh well. And then I let it dry for a while. And then after it dried, I pick out some more paints, and then I was going to paint the outside edges to look like wood. So I actually didn't have the brown I liked, so I mixed up some of my own colors I had on hand, and then I started dry brushing that onto there. I would dry brush it, and then I would wipe it off, and just kept doing that a couple times. Once I was finished, I was pretty happy with the way it looked. I mean, it always looks okay far away, but close up it still looked good. I even painted the back side, and unfortunately it's a little shaded right now, but just gave it a little texture. Wasn't too picky on the back side. So just did what I could really fast. So that way if you did see it, you'd be like, oh, that's the backside. How I'm gonna hang this up, I still have no idea. Once you have a heavy coat of paint, a couple coats of paint, you can spray paint your foam then. So I use a clear coat. Sometimes it doesn't really matter. I try to use something that's waterproof. Had this laying around, didn't have to go buy something. The only time you can paint your foam with spray paint is after you have your base paint down in a couple layers at that too. So this way it's a little bit more protected. Well, there it is. It's finished. I pretty much like it. It's got some nice details. Looks a little bit like wood from far away, especially. Everything looks good far away. And also with spooky lights on it. It hides all the ugly. Anyways, I had a hard time deciding with paint colors on this one, but I'm pretty stoked on how it turned out. And now people know what the cemetery is all about. Especially the ones that seen the movie will know. The ones who have not seen the show will be totally oblivious and just think it's Hawkins Cemetery. For the back side of my Hawkins Cemetery sign, I use this wire that's wrapped in twine. And I put a little piece, a little loop, and I hot glue gunned it all the way down. Put cardboard over it. And now I'm using tape, Gorilla Glue tape, duct tape pretty much, to go on the outside. And it's still kind of hot because of the hot glue gun. And then I'm gonna hang it up on my tree in my cemetery. I'm the type of gal that says if you need a knot, tie a lot. If you need a lot of tape, use a lot of tape. Use a ton of glue and it will work. So I'm wrapping it over and just like lacing the heck out of it with this tape. I do not want it to fall. So there it is, hanging in the tree. Going simple this year, not too much, just little details. Obviously that's gonna blow right off if the wind blows. So I'm gonna use my tendrils and kind of wrap it around the tree, like a figure 8. And I have a stretchy one made out of latex I'm gonna use. And then the demo dog's gonna go there. And fertilizer bags and rats. So looks good, it's what I wanted, something simple. The wind is blowing and it looks like it's staying. Super wrapped it up with vines. I think that, I almost fell, is done. So this is in front of my Hawkins Cemetery. Like they came out here to plant some nice flowers for the cemetery to look nice, which I need to still go buy. My whole purpose is less is more with this. I think it's gonna look good with the right lighting. Just little rats kind of placed throughout the wheelbarrow under the Hawkins Cemetery. Even if you come over here, you can see them. Hello.